Hi, I'm Raaf and I'm so happy that you're here. Welcome to episode 3 of my 3-part mini-series about my modular setup and how I patch it. So in the previous 2 episodes, we've covered 4 of the 5 sections, which are my texture bed, the quartet, my utility section and my effect section. So there's only one section left, and that is the soloist and the lead voice in my setup. And in my case, that's the harmonic oscillator by Verbos Electronics. And let's take a look at the palette where it's in, because it's not in my main case. It has its own palette, which is really great because I've built it like an entire synth voice on its own, so I can add it and remove it very easily. So it's in a palette case, and let's take a look at it and I'll explain why I think this oscillator is so good as a solo lead voice. So this is my lead voice, which is the harmonic oscillator by Verbos Electronics. And let me explain what is going on in the rest of the palette case. So next to the oscillator is a 2-channel LXD low-pass gate by Make Noise. And a few of the waveform outputs of the harmonic oscillator are patched into the 2 channels of this low-pass gate. This low-pass gate is being opened and closed by Tangrams by IntelliGel, which is a 2-channel ADSR envelope, and those 2 channels can work separately, but they can also work together to create beautiful and complex envelopes. And then the 2 channels of the low-pass gate are being patched into amps, which is a duo VCA module by IntelliGel, and I can use it for volume control and also for extra CV and other modulation, which is great. And then the output of amps is being patched into this buffered mode over here. And when I play live, I use 2 of these outputs. One of these outputs are going into my mimeophone delay in my main case, and the other one is being patched into the dual dagger stereo filter by Shakmat, and then it's going into the 1U FX unit by IntelliGel. So I've got a lot of versatility in filtering and effects that I can use. And then over here we've got noise tools by IntelliGel, which gives me pink and white noise, sample and track and hold, and a slew limiter. And over here we've got a little mixer, which mixes 2 of the waveform outputs into one, so I can patch it into one channel of my low pass gate. So let's have a look at the harmonic oscillator, and maybe it's useful to know what it actually does and why I think it's such a good solo and lead voice. The harmonic oscillator is an additive oscillator, so it is built around a fundamental, and which is a note or a melody, and the frequencies and the 8 harmonics above that. And each harmonic has its own level control, and by increasing or decreasing these levels, you change the internal spectrum of the sound. Well, this sounds really scientific, but once you listen to it and hear what it does, you understand. So let's just listen to a simple melody going through C-Lex, delay, and we'll only listen to the fundamental first, which sounds lovely and warm and nice because also of the low pass gate, which I love. And then we can add the harmonics to it to alter the way it sounds. So it's almost like you create polyphony, but it's not. It's just adding and focusing on certain harmonics, and it's like mixing with the spectral sound of the notes, which I think is so cool. And what's even better is that each of these harmonics have a CV input, and you can do really amazing things like that. So with that, one of the things I really love is adding like a Euclidean rhythm to these harmonic inputs. So I'm using DivSkip by DivKit and Making Sound Machines for this. And I'll show you what happens when a Euclidean rhythm is fed into the CV inputs of the harmonic. So let's listen to that. Let's say we want to add the 4th one. So now you already get the feeling like they're like two melodies are being played and not one, but it's actually derived from this one melody. And it sounds polyphonic, right? Which I think is so cool. Where is my fourth one? Oh, here is my fourth one. So let's add the high one. So cool. At least I think so. So, and I've built this synthesizer in a way that I can alter this sound a lot as well. So I have a slew. Which I can use. And of course I've got the other waveform outputs of the harmonic oscillator. So it also has a square wave and a sawtooth wave. And I have patched those two into this little mixer, and I added them to the second channel of my VCA and the first channel of my low pass gate. So I can add these as well. This is the sawtooth. It's a square wave. And we can mix this. And if you put like an LFO into the CV input of amps, and I've made it a polar and unipolar, the VCA, we hear the different. So now we hear, yeah, harmonics, square wave, harmonics. So you can really play with the sounds of this oscillator. There's also an FM input, and I love to patch pink noise into that. It makes it sound a little bit more gritty. If we make the envelopes a little bit longer, you can hear that even better. Maybe add some chorus as well. So now we're in an entirely different world, right? But we can go back to sweet and dreamy in a second. I've also got a stereo filter, some resonance. So maybe you can understand why I love this oscillator so much. With one melody you can create this enormous palette of sounds which you can really paint with. It's so amazing. In the previous example, the harmonic oscillator sounded really sweet and dreamy, but it can also growl and be gritty, and I actually love its low end, and it can produce amazing drones. So let's listen to that. First we're just going to play a drone, like a long note played with a sawtooth wave, which creates some tension, but not necessarily sounds really exciting or nice to listen to for more than a few seconds. But if we add the harmonics again to this note, so we add and subtract the harmonics on top of what we are hearing, then it gets really interesting. Again, there's a Euclidean rhythm coming from the diff skip, controlling the CV inputs of the different harmonics. And let's listen to what happens when we use that. It's suddenly really cool, right? And then the drone changes the fundamental note. And then the harmonics change, of course, with that, which I think is so cool. So we can add in some more growling if we want. We can make it more gritty by adding the pink noise to the FM input, which I really like. Maybe add some chorus. And let's do some filtering. I really like this. Or we can make it sound cavernous by adding a lot of reverb. So yeah, that's what I love about the harmonic oscillator and why I think it's so suitable for a lead voice or a soloist, because it, it can be sweet and dreamy, it can growl and produce amazing drones and everything in between that. So for me, this is the perfect oscillator to have like a lead voice in a patch. So that concludes this three-part mini-series about my modular setup and how I patch it. And really, it was a joy to make. Also a lot of work, but mostly a joy. I think I will keep on doing this. So if you've got any suggestions about the kind of videos you would like to see me create, please let me know in the comments. They could be about a certain module or a certain type of module, about patching techniques, or about how I make music with my modular synthesizer. And I'll read them and I'll see if I can create that for you, because I'd love to do these kind of videos. And I am, in my day-to-day job, a teacher in a professional theater and music school, so I guess I'd like to explain things. But it does take a lot of time. So I am considering opening up a Patreon to earn some money with my videos here on YouTube. And I will keep posting my YouTube videos the way I always did. You'll just get some extras when you join my Patreon. But I'm not there yet, but I am considering it. So if you would like to support me with that, could you let me know? Because yeah, maybe it would be a wise thing to do. So thank you for watching. I hope you found some inspiration. And yeah, I will be posting a video very soon where I perform with my case and I feature the 5 sections, and I will also talk and explain a little bit about it. I'll see you again in a new video. Bye bye.